How are we all doing? Morning, Virginia. Where's everybody in the chat today? There's nobody there. How are we all doing? Morning, Virginia. You are the only person that's chatted this morning so far. Welcome. 19 people. Where is everybody? It's Friday morning, 7:45. Morning, Callum, Harold. Everybody's here now. So, Friday morning, not a lot going on today. Hopefully we get some movement at the open today. The market seems pretty compact at the minute though, so if it stays like this, probably just about get a trade on the DAX and the FTSE, but not an awful lot of movement so far this morning. So we'll see what happens this morning with the indices. We'll start off with the news. Overnight, excuse me, not an awful lot. We had Collins coming out last night. Will be appropriate to begin easing soon. We sort of covered that in the, excuse me, got a frog this morning, live room yesterday afternoon. Timing is appropriate to begin easing monetary policy. No guidance as to when though, so nothing new. We had Kazakh speaking as well. Cuts are possible even if inflation goes sideways, so that's bearish for the euro. Apart from that, not a lot overnight. We had Japanese CPI, which doesn't really tend to do an awful lot, and a lot of talk coming out of Ueda last night. So most of the overnight stuff, Ueda's talking a lot, mainly about the intervention and what's going on in Japan and how it's been successful, that sort of stuff. But apart from that, nothing really exciting. So a bit of a dead overnight news. Today, we had obviously Ueda speaking this morning. We've got retail sales for the Canadian dollar this afternoon. That's the main news today. And we've got the sort of talking head day, if you like, for Jackson Hole Symposium. So there's potential today for Powell or Bailey. I'm not sure, she's not scheduled anyway, but I'm not sure if Lagarde is also speaking today. So that's today's news. I don't think it's likely we'll get a lot out of Bailey or Powell regarding monetary policy and forward guidance, but it's possible. So just be aware this afternoon, 3 and 4 o'clock. So getting on for when the market's closing in the UK, there's potential for some big moves on the US and on the pound. It's not end of month, so we're not likely to get a load of end of month movement, but it is possible. It's the end of week. So, but that's your real news mover today, is retail sales for the Canadian dollar. Apart from that, dead day really. Next week as well is a bit of a dead week. So Monday's a bank holiday. I'm not here on Monday. There's no news on Monday. We've got consumer confidence on Tuesday for the US. Very hit and miss. Australian CPI yearly is the main one on Wednesday. And then we've got CPI for Germany, GDP and unemployment claims as usual for the pound, for the US dollar, and then GDP and PCE. So it's a really light week next week as well. So we're moving into the end of August and very, very little news to move the market. We're waiting on some news on interest rates, but nothing's coming. So that's your news for today. Nothing much. Morning, everybody else. Bogdan, Chuck, Dallas. Afternoon from the Gold Coast. Very nice. Was just morning. Right. So as you can see, there are no ADRs. Nothing much moved overnight in the Asian session. The yen had a little bit of movement overnight, basically because Ueda said quite a lot, and it seems to have rallied the yen a little bit overnight, but not enough to get any decent movement. As you can see, we're just still sitting within the range of the sort of latter half of yesterday in the New York session. So not really any movement from any of the yen pairs. The Aussie, ever such a slight bullish move from the Aussie overnight. Reverse alert just gone in on the Aussie Swiss there. And the New Zealand dollar, pretty quiet. A bit more volatility on the New Zealand dollar, but not a lot. So really, really, really quiet Asian session. I'm not expecting a lot out today. And as you can see, it's been one of those weeks. So not an awful lot of movement sort of from the FOMC meeting onwards today. Been a bit crap. Morning V, how are we doing? So those are your ADRs. How long we got? 7 minutes to the open. There's a few weekly ranges that have been hit. So Aussie, New Zealand. So that is Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. There we go. So Aussie, New Zealand basically has gone obviously down to this week. So there's a potential reversal there, but it has pulled back quite nicely. So it's just about hit its weekly range. Reversal alert got in. That's retesting as well at the moment. So nice potential W pattern reversal. Bit difficult to pick a target on that. You'd have to look somewhere around that area. So this propulsion gap maybe, which is 125 ADR, but we got no news to move it today. So who knows? We've got a couple of the yens. Actually, I think there's a few yens. Swiss yen, that's hit the weekly range as well. So big push up, weekly range hit. Again, reversal today. So potential pullback there. You've kind of missed that. It's already started. The Euro US dollar is the most extended thing at the moment on the weekly, but that hit on Wednesday. So the reversal started on Wednesday. Lower time frames, bounced off of that low from Wednesday yesterday. So we're potentially starting that downward movement, looking to hit that propulsion gap. That's where my target is at the moment. We've got the pound US dollar as well, very much the same. That's rallying again today. Pound having another little bit of a push. Really strong pound at the moment. Not quite sure why. Banks know something we don't. Potential head and shoulder pattern going in there, although that's got to stop. So that pound, obviously that's hit the weekly range. I think that hit the weekly range on Wednesday, pushed further yesterday. As you can see, this is coming off the back of a hell of a run. All these pound pairs. So we've got this level that I've drawn in here, this 131 400 roughly, which is this old yearly high going back to 2023. So this is a year ago, July last year. So potentially we're going to find some limit order triggers up here. So if this does push today, it's not quite going to go far enough for me to get another position on this one, unfortunately. My next entry is above that level, so just below ADR. So if we do get a push up today beyond that level and we get some limit orders triggering and the market trying to push away from there, that could start quite a big move back down today. So nicely extended there. So that's a good short opportunity. You've got the New Zealand dollar CAD as well, pushed up. That one triggered yesterday. No, sorry, Wednesday I think that one was. Yeah. So there's your reversal on Wednesday. We retested it on Wednesday as well. So nicely coming down, but again, we hit that support. So my target is that propulsion gap. I think this one can go a lot lower. This New Zealand dollar, we got some strength starting to show in the US, which is going to help the Canadian. And this New Zealand dollar, obviously, they've changed the interest rate without telling anybody and reduced it. So probably more bearish. So I think there's a good chance we'll get a full move all the way back down to here. But it's going to take a while. So that's your New Zealand dollar CAD. 3 minutes to the open. New Zealand US and US Swiss. So those are your weeklies. As you can see, that's stuck sideways. I'm short on that with 2 positions. And US Swiss, again, no movement at all yesterday. And I think probably today we might get something similar, but we'll see. But lovely potential pullback on that one. However, this Swiss franc is not giving up. So we had a strong US dollar yesterday. And that is as far as it could get against the Swiss franc. So it's very, very strong at the moment, this Swiss. I get the feeling we're probably going to come down and retest that low, but it may well pull back before it tries that. So could go either way, that one. So those are your weekly range hits. RSIs, dead, nothing. So we've got Aussie, New Zealand on the 4 hour. So you got a 4 hour RSI extension below the 30 level. We didn't get extended below that 20 like we did previously. But beautiful double bottom there. That's a 3-week low and last week's low. So we've had quite a few reactions at that level, which we are reacting at again now. You've just had a reverse alert go in on that one this morning and a retest. Look, beautiful W pattern reversal. So nice looking long opportunity on the Aussie New Zealand and the pound odd, but that one is still kind of pushing. So that's a 4-hour RSI extension to the upside, but you can see this has gone from an extension downside to an extension upside this week. Not really a lot of movement. We're still within that range and hitting this resistance. So I think there's a good chance that this might get held by this level from last week and the previous lows there, this propulsion gap basically. They are selling this off. So it is a good looking sell opportunity, but we've got very strong pound at the moment. But we've also got a very strong Australian dollar. So could go either way this one, but a good looking short opportunity there if you wanted to take that one. I'm in that one already with a short. Just got into it this morning. I think it was this morning. Either this morning or yesterday. I can't remember. I think it might have been this morning. Can't even see where the order is. So yeah, looking for that to push down. Yeah, it's just gone in today actually because there's no target on it. So that's within ADR. Let's have a quick look on the hourly. Market is just about to open. Yeah. That's your safer target there. More likely to hit that than we are the lower one because we've got a bit of resistance in the way, but that is the previous day's high. So I think that's not a bad area. I'm just going to target down there. We'll have a look and see if it gets anywhere near it. Just got an RSI extension coming in on the euro pound on the hourly. Just nice double bottom there, look. So I've got one buy on that already. Beautiful double bottom. Got in on yesterday's low. So again, limit orders triggering at yesterday's low where we stopped. 5-minute reversal alert. Just about to go in. So there's your reversal when we break that high. So look for a W pattern out of that. It might just go, but we'll see. Okay, so market's open. Long the DAX, no trade yet on the FTSE. No volume again today. When does summer trading finish? Kind of first, second week of September. We tend to get the volume starting to come back in. Although there's been a fair bit of volume this August in forex, not so much in the indices. Short on FTSE, long on the DAX. So yeah, September usually is when it starts to pick up, but this summer has been a little bit different. We've had quite a bit of volume on forex because we've had a lot of interest rate change. So there's been a lot more movement than normal, but it's still very, very, very quiet. You know, there's still a lot. If you look at the 4-hour time frame and sort of scroll out and look at this month, euro pound's not so bad, but we had that weird move at the beginning of August. We had that 300 ADR upside move on everything in 2 hours for no reason whatsoever. Since that, the market's kind of just been flip-flopping around. Look, yeah, we've had news, but there's been no direction off the back of the news. So we've had some decent volume and volatility coming in, but as you can see, very little direction. It's just kind of undone what was going on in July, really. So a bit weird this month. Okay. Not exactly setting the world on fire this morning, are we? But we have got a break long. So DAX, yes, just going to move my target one down. So that high is the high from 3 weeks ago. That is the high from 4 weeks ago. That propulsion move there is part of a 3-bar reversal. So that's where the market sold off. We came back, we added. We've come back up to that sort of area. We've hit resistance again. So it's finding it tough to make any progress. And we've got probably very strong limit orders sitting at this level here. So that's within ADR today. So I'm just moving my target down within that level, just in case we get a reaction exactly at that price point, which is 1858. Excuse me. And then upside wise, ADR for the second target. But it's not really breaking very fast, is it? Downside target on the FTSE, yeah, that area there, which is the New York lows. That's your lower day yesterday. Just no volume, is there? I wouldn't be surprised to see this market gapping today on light volume. We've got a little bit of a gap at the open, but that is because of volume. We've got a little gap down here. I don't know if anybody else has got that on their charts. That is from the news yesterday, I think. Is that the open? No, it's 3 o'clock. What happened at 3 o'clock yesterday? What did we get? Home sales. Not quite sure why we got a little gap there, but market might want to come down and sort that out. Oh no, sorry, that's today, isn't it? Sorry, this is pre-market today. What am I talking about? So yes, just light volume. So you say 3 o'clock. It's 3 a.m. this morning. Morning from South Africa. Lewis. Morning, Isbeth. Vitali. I need power to prop the dollar up. Yeah. Morning, AZ. Hopefully, we should get some volume. So there's your open. So absolute indecision at the open. Spinning top. And the DAX did break long, but tiny opening ranges today. Look at this. Absolutely tiny. So the opening range today is pretty much the same size as the pre-market range. 22 points. Pre-market was 18. Absolutely no volume. So might be a hedge today. I don't know. I'll let these play out, but we had a grindy day like this on Wednesday, where the market, I took the trade off on Wednesday because there was no volume, and then I regretted it because the market literally just ground away like that and just basically put bull candle in after bull candle. No big candles, no volume, just it ground. So I'm going to leave that running. FTSE, dead. Not a lot you can do with this market, is there, at the moment? Very tough. I can see why the bankers take August off, can't you? It's just dead. Still a bit, but not a lot. So that's really all I've got to cover on the FX side today. There's not really an awful lot to look at. You can see this week we are basically at the moment inside bar on previous week on pound New Zealand. So although there's been some movement compared to last week on most stuff, decent move on the US obviously, but everything else is kind of sort of started to try and get somewhere, but not really got anywhere. Indian index, Nifty 50. No idea, don't trade it. The Indian index won't be opening now, so you want to trade that at the open. Yesterday got out of Aussie dollar CAD. That was the only trade I exited yesterday. So that was that H1 or H4 RSI extension. Got out on the push down into propulsion, so hit target. Just obviously pulling back a little bit today, but market structure is quite nice on that now, bearish. So good looking short opportunity from this resistance. So M5. Reversal alert's going to be all the way down there. But yeah, nice resistance bounce going on at the moment, potentially. A new leg down. That's going to need some Canadian dollar strength. But as I say, there's no news really today to move it. So, oh, sorry, it's core retail sales for the CAD. Yeah, so there is CAD this afternoon, but that's it. We got Bostic speaking as well at 1 o'clock. Hopefully somebody breathes some life into this today. I can't look at the Nifty. Don't trade it. Don't have it. Don't trade it. So we'll see where we go with the DAX. We are 1 hour break to the upside at the moment. Testing yesterday's high. Hedged on the FTSE. So target on the FTSE. Where do you go with that today? So downside target, I'm going to go for yesterday's low. Oops. So yesterday's low, which is also the low in New York. So this propulsion move that we had at the beginning of Wednesday, we've tested that, bought it again, tested it, bought it again and again, tested it, bought it again, just about got to it and bought it twice during New York. So if it breaks short, I'm going to assume that's a retest. Might just move that up a little bit to the downside. And upside, absolutely nothing to go for really, apart from the monthly high. So that's the previous month's high, and obviously we reacted at that on Monday. We've got an accumulation here, potentially, where we sold, which that might get a test, but that's not far enough really. So I might just go for ADR today, upside target. But again, FTSE's been really bad this week. As you can see from the charts, basically, we had one break. So the day that I didn't trade the FTSE, Wednesday, was the day it did that. The rest of the week, it's been terrible, unfortunately. So we had a hedge on Monday. Tuesday was okay. I took a short break, very small target on Tuesday. Wednesday, I didn't trade it. I traded the DAX, collapsed. Yesterday, sorry, that was Wednesday. Tuesday, that was. Yesterday, just rubbish. Just rubbish. Not having much fun with FTSE at the moment. It's just really whippy. Anybody got any other pairs they want to have a look at? I will have a quick scan through all pairs. But if there's anything specific, let me know. But there's not a lot else to discuss today. We're waiting for the Canadian retail this afternoon. So there's no overnight news to look at. There's nothing new from a interest rate perspective to look at. We might get something this afternoon from Powell or Bailey, but other than that, it's another dead duck today. Bitcoin, don't trade Bitcoin. You're obviously new in the room. This is forex and UK and US indices. Yeah, position trading and scalping the open. Yeah, go and watch the bootcamp on the website. Links along the bottom. I just realised my links in chat aren't working, are they? They're not going in for some reason. I'll have to check that. But yeah, go to the website. You'll see what I do. And I don't do Bitcoin, and I don't do Nifty 50. Morning, Roger. You sound like a Ferrero Rocher. Sorry. I don't know why I said that. Ferrero Rocher. I like Ferrero Rocher. Right. While we're waiting for those to do something, anything, probably hedge me this morning. Oh, look at the DAX. So this is yesterday's high bounce going on at the moment on the DAX. So this is limit orders triggering at yesterday's high. There's just no volume case. It's going to be tricky to find some targets on the DAX because it's sideways. We'll have a look at that if it happens. So we'll come back to that in a minute. Right, so I'm just going to whiz through all the pairs because there's not an awful lot happening on ADR or RSI at the moment. Telegram channel link. Yep. Literally, as you're saying it, it's scrolling along the bottom of the screen. Go to the website. I'll put a link in the website. There we go. Maybe it's time to target 1R. Yeah, I have been targeting 1R. 1R, I mean, 3R is really all you're going to get most of the time at the moment. 1R is just hard to make money out of because if you get a hedge literally the next day just gets you back your money if you're lucky. That's it. It's not worth. It's almost like there's no point in targeting 1R. You know, you've got to be a positive risk reward ratio on indices, because the whole edge of the strategy is the opening range break. It's the volume at the open. When you don't get the volume at the open, you've got a 50-50 shot of getting hedged. If you do get hedged, you know, that's locking in 1R of loss. So taking 1R, it's just not profitable. You've got to have 1.5, 2R at least. I've taken that a few times this week. I've taken 2R, posted one in the Telegram group, just because when you get to 2R, it almost looks like it's just going to die. Audio's cutting out. Doesn't look like it's cutting out. I'll move the mic closer. Doesn't look like it's cutting out to me. Anybody else got audio cutting out? Might just be my voice cutting out. But yeah, 1R's too tight. Look at that. Rubbish. So rejecting the lows, which would be good if we can get some volume coming through on that. We get some volume coming through on that. Callum says it's fine. Must be UV. Maybe hit the refresh button. Right, FX. We'll have always through. So Aussie dollar CAD, not an awful lot this week. So we've got push up into propulsion. Nice bounce. Looks like we're pushing back down into these propulsion gaps. But the Aussie basically is bias long. They're not changing their interest rates down at the moment. Their inflation figures are too high. Canadian are dropping. US obviously is rallying and dumping regularly, so CAD moves with that. So at the moment, bias is long for this, which is partly why I got out that short fairly quick. But yeah, not really at any level you can look at and say I want to do anything with that at the moment. Swiss francs, very strong at the moment, same as the yen basically. So the yen and the Swissy both are bullish at the moment. Partly because of obviously what's happened with the yen. That strength is coming from the intervention. The intervention move. The Swiss franc, obviously, there's a lot of uncertainty. We've been very much during August in the fear section. We're neutral now, so we might see some weakness starting to come through on the Swissy. But all the time we've got potential conflict, you're going to find the Swiss franc is used a lot. So there's potential for that to continue to strengthen. So. Although this is a bull, the Aussie, the Swissy could go either way. We've also had from Jordan, you know, that they are going to intervene when they need to. So there's a long yesterday on that, or rather overnight almost. So yeah, there was a long signal, and you've just had a reverse alert on the hourly as well. So potentially we might get a bit of a pullback on that. So potential little long opportunity there if you wanted to take it. The yens, I'll quickly whiz through. We had loads and loads coming out of UEDA overnight. So lots and lots of talk about how successful the intervention move has been, which we know, we can see. But the last sort of couple of weeks, we've just been in this gradual pullback. And this week we are totally flat on the yen. Yeah, so there's just nothing you can do with this yen at the moment. It's either going to go up or down, obviously, but which way, it's very difficult to call at the moment. We don't know what the Bank of Japan's long-term monetary policy stance is. We don't know how much money they've got left for intervention moves. They're not piling into US bonds anymore. So there's a good chance that it will start to strengthen further. But at the moment, it's just completely neutral. Yeah, it's not doing anything. So with all the yen pairs, you're reliant on the opposite cross. So if there's strength in the euro, this is going up. If there's weakness in the euro, this is going down. But it's not going to move because of any yen movement. So all the yens at the moment are just completely stuck. There's no consensus from banks and institutions on direction on this at the moment, because obviously this is an intervention move. So at any time, they could do another one. So you can't call it from an economic perspective at the moment. It's just sheer weight of orders and the strength of movement on the cross against the yen. So not really worth trading any of them. Good for stop loss strategies. but you want to be concentrating on the cross. So whatever your bias is on the cross, really. But normal movement up and down probably, but not a lot of it. So all the ends kind of scrapped at the moment. Aussie New Zealand pushing down. So we've had some weird movement on this New Zealand dollar. The New Zealand dollar is just weird at the moment. So that's the last interest rate announcement where they didn't change rates. We had that crazy move up and then we sat around for weeks. Then we had the interest rates changing again, and it's just having these mad movements, but doesn't seem to want to go anywhere. So again, Aussie New Zealand, lovely signal long this morning. RSI extended to the downside. Hourly RSI extended as well. You've had reversal alerts going on the 5-minute and the 15-minute this morning, and also on the hourly. That 15 minutes, a lovely retest look. So there's your reversal and there's your retest. Long looking good on the Aussie New Zealand at the moment. That is also the bias fundamentally. Aussie US, I'm short already on the extension from this week. We did push down yesterday. I had an opportunity to get out, but not really wanting to get out yet. There's a lot of downside on this. Bias is difficult. So we had this accumulation for 2 months, and then we had price discovery move, which failed during early July. We came back down, was expecting it to go back into accumulation. It crashed back down. We had the price discovery move down here. We had that crazy move at the beginning of August for 300 ADR for no reason. And now we've pushed back through this area again. So we're in expansion at the minute. But really, no idea where this thing's going. So I'm short at the moment, have no problem being short. Obviously, looking at the 175 ADR level, which is last month's high. If it does invalidate this reversal alert that we've just had this week, i.e. doesn't retest it and drop, then we should get some reaction up at the high. We know they sold the monthly level at that 67,900, basically pretty much 68. Actually, I think it is 68. Oh. Yeah, 67,974, 68. So that's a big round number bounce, basically. Quite a strong one as well, look. So if it does get all the way up there, my next short's going on there. So that'll bring the average up, and then we'll be looking for a pullback on this leg. And there's your Aussies. Morning, Abdi. Is that RSI Indy on the bottom? Yep. Morning, Sega. So CAD Swiss, I'll quickly run through all the Swissies, but the Swissies shouldn't be strong. They're dropping interest rates like crazy. But obviously it's a safe haven, and we've got lots of weird things going on in the world at the moment. So we've got lots of Swiss franc strength. So everything at the moment has been coming down against the Swiss. We've had a 2-week pullback, and it looks like the Swissies powering up again. Not particularly strong, but I'm not trading the Swiss at the moment. I did take a trade on the pound Swiss this week, which I got out of. There. Sorry, that was last week I took it. So took that one last week, mainly because it was the double monthly level. So we pushed up into there. We got rejection at that level, and obviously got out there, which was that high. And since then, gone nowhere. So all the Swissies basically having a slightly quiet week this week, but overall probably going to continue to be strong. If we get some kind of peace talks in the Middle East happening and an agreement, then the Swiss will probably start to weaken, because we'll go into a sort of greed mode. They'll pull out the safe havens and start putting money into the more risky assets. So we'll wait and see. But at the moment, don't see any reason why that shouldn't continue to be strong. Yens have covered. Euro, still bearish on the euro. We've had nothing out of Lagarde. We've got no speaking from Lagarde today at Jackson Hole. As you can see, dead weak again. But a little bit of strength in the euro this week, ever so slightly, but not particularly. As you can see, it's just slightly pushed up, rejected, and looks like it's starting to weaken today. So all we would probably expect is a slight move down today, maybe back to the open of the week. It's just not going anywhere. It's summer. We're stuck. Euro pound is moving somewhere. So we've had a nice big drop on this one, but that is due to the pound strength. So this one's dropping not because the euro is weak, because the pound has been strong this week. Probably the only thing really that's had a good run this week is the pound. No idea why. No reason why it should be. It's just they've just had a good run on it this week. So we're tapping into that propulsion gap, which isn't really a good one. This one's the one you want to be watching, which is ADR today. So I've got one long on this on the H4 RSI extension. It's not a great level here. It's not bad, but I would expect probably to come down and retest this high or somewhere around these levels here. So that low here was that high there, and then we slammed through that level. So that is the break point. That's your propulsion gap. So that is where second entry will go on. That's the next long. And then look for it to push back up into that area there. So it may well just go, but you know, this is pound strength again. Euro New Zealand, again, not an awful lot. We've just literally undone the interest rate drop. So this was that massive spike on the New Zealand dollar interest rate drop, which we weren't expecting. They knocked 0.25% off of that, telling us. Literally all we've done last week and this week is undo that move, and we're stuck basically at support. If this breaks today, so today there's a breakout trade really playable on this. If we break that low, which is the low of the week, or potentially yesterday's low, that's going to flush down into this propulsion gap. So you've got a good 300 ADR drop available. So not a bad move down, but it's not going anywhere this week. Yeah. So had a long on there, which I took off at that propulsion gap. I said I didn't want to really risk too much on this move, and it was a good move because it literally didn't go anywhere yesterday. There is potential for it to pull back a lot more. There was a short there as well after the interest rates. But yeah, at the moment it's stuck. So if it breaks, there will be an RSI extension to the downside again, and I will get another long position on. But probably, you know, if you're going to trade manually rather than using the EA to automate your entries, I would wait until you get down to there. I don't mind being in a few positions before I get there. But that is a previous monthly high, which we tested multiple times. That propulsion move was that break. That was the interest rate change on the 10th of July, or rather no change on the 10th of July. And then we had that stupid rally for no reason whatsoever, i.e. they dumped the New Zealand dollar because they didn't change the interest rates. Then they did change the interest rates and they dumped the New Zealand dollar, but now they're not going to go into it because they'd already gone into it when they didn't change it. So market's just confused at the moment. Central banks not giving any information, changing their mind every 5 minutes, and interest rates changing without warning. So, you know, this last change that we had on the New Zealand dollar wasn't on the cards. The month before, they said they might have to put their interest rates up because inflation's sticky. Yeah, and then they drop it. It's just impossible. I wouldn't want to be an economist in a bank at the moment. They must be confused as hell. So yeah, Euro New Zealand and Euro US, obviously, we've had weakness in that US dollar. We had a very nice strong move off the PMIs yesterday, which was a little bit over egged, I think. That US dollar move off the PMIs yesterday, it was a 1.2 increase on forecast, but it's only gone up to, or rather stayed at the level we were at before, and we got a drop on manufacturing by 1.5. Yeah, they were forecasting that to stay the same. So I kind of read that really as more negative than positive, yet they rallied the US yesterday. So it's difficult to see whether that was caused by the PMI data or more likely a big sell-off in stocks, which we had yesterday, which would obviously rally the US. So it's pulling back this morning, the US. We didn't get the reversal alert yesterday. So I'm short at the moment, but looking to target just that propulsion gap. So I'm just looking for an ADR out of it. You know, summer trading, there's no point in putting big targets in. You can put big targets in, but you're just going to have to wait weeks to get to them. much rather just be out at an ADR and take what I can at the moment. So good looking short Euro US dollar, big extension, but as you can see, we are already reset and we haven't actually really gone anywhere. So that is this week's RSI extension. We had one last week. As you can see, there was a short there into propulsion out. I'm targeting propulsion just in case. Hopefully, Powell will rally the US this afternoon. I'm kind of hoping he's going to come out and just say, we are watching data. It seems it's not pulling down as fast as we had hoped, in which case that will rally the US. If he comes out and says 100% guaranteed, we're 0.25% interest rate drop in September, we're going to get a weak US dollar, which means this is going to pop. But that's the news. You just have to react and deal with what you get. So beautiful for all you pattern traders, head and shoulders going in. For all you people that know that these very rarely work, I would be getting out there because that's more likely to happen. But we'll see. So good looking short on that one. Morning, Neo, JC. Pound odd. We had a good rally this week. Short on that one. Again, RSI extension above the 80 level at the RSI 10. We're coming to resistance. It is starting to move down, but we've got a little bit of strength coming through this morning on the pound. Not massive. So looking for that high to hold. That's the rally yesterday. Huge move on the pound again yesterday. We are getting some really crazy intraday strength. All the ADRs we've had this week, most of the ADRs we've had this week have been caused by the pound. So as you can see, Euro US dollars rallied, pound US dollar also. So big moves on the pound. But Friday, probably not going to do an awful lot today. They might sell off. You never know. So hopefully we'll just do a sell off on this move and get that 50% retracement in. That's what I'm targeting short from this morning. And pound CAD, obviously on the back of a 2-week run. This is very much the same as the pound US dollar. We're on the back of a multi-week run. It's exhausted. It's very nice signal pound US dollar. 3-bar reversal gone in there. Didn't quite get the reversal alert, so not quite as much selling as we'd hoped. So the pound CAD very much the same. Big rejection there. Yeah, at the highs. So limit orders triggering at these highs, hoping just to push it back. So the bias on the pound should be bearish. Canadian and US, they haven't got a clue, so we haven't got a clue. So that these two could go either way. We are obviously very extended. So if there is profit taking to be done, it's about now. You would expect them to start the profit taking move. Yeah. So if you look equidistant movement, yeah, we are extended. This is when we should be getting the pullback. But fundamentals obviously rule. So we'll wait and see what happens with Powell this afternoon, if he says anything. And obviously Canadian unemployment, not unemployment, retail this afternoon. So if we get really, really good retail figures, we'll get potentially a move on that US dollar as well. So I just caught that corner of my eye. The DAX just made new high of the day. And we are breaking yesterday's high. But as you can see, for the last 30 minutes, we are absolutely sideways. That's your opening range on the FTSE. We are inside it. Dead. So this today, if I can get that up to £400, I will take that and use that to pay that and be done. There's just no movement. So in fact, I'm just going to stick hard TPs in. It is there, yeah. So I'm sticking both my TPs just over 2R. Let me just move it up a little bit. Just to lock that in. So that's going to be just over £400. Just pays for the hedge on the FTSE today. Just no volume. You watch, the DAX will just go mental today and it will just grind all the way up to ADR. And I'll be sitting there going, can't tell at the moment, though. It's just not enough volume. Not enough volume to move it. Look, it's gapping again. Like I said this morning when I came on, I wouldn't be surprised to see this market gap today. So candle close there. We gapped up. You can see that flickering. That's basically them reaching for orders. Yeah, because there's no volume. So you place a large order in the market, you have to tick up more than one tick to go and get the orders filled, straight back down again because there's just no volume. So we're gapping. Yeah, whenever you see this in the market where we're jumping up like this, every candle is opening at a different price point to the previous one. Means there's no volume. If there's no volume, you're not going to get a fast move. You're not going to get any decent breaks. It can be grindy though. So if they're looking to buy a load of German stocks today, they're going to have to do it in very small orders, which is why you just get that really slow grind that goes on literally all session. But again, selling off yesterday's high. Yeah, there's just no one in the market. There's no buyers. Dead. So my best hope today is a break even. So yeah, pound US dollar coming down nicely. Might be a bit of US strength coming in. Yeah, some US strength coming in this morning, which is good. So that was pound CAD and pound US, pound New Zealand. So we are just back at the open of the week, basically, pretty much. We're on our way back to. New Zealand dollar should be weak. So that move there, they've completely A-shaped recovered it this week. We've come back down into the support. So this is where they started to sell off the New Zealand dollar. They've started to sell it off again. So it should be really more long than short, but only going to take Bailey to come out and say we're dropping the interest rates in September. You're going to be down here. So back testing this area here. Very hard to call. I don't really care which way I trade this at the moment. So I had a short trade on there, had a long trade on there. You can see these on the hourly time frame. Yeah, so we had the short there and longed there. Yeah. So yeah, don't mind which way I trade this. Both bearish now. That was bullish, now bearish. They dropped interest rates without telling us. If they started the interest rate drop, it means their confident CPI is coming down. If the next CPI figure comes out as a negative on the New Zealand dollar, they will drop rates further. So this can go either way, and it will be based on when they drop those interest rates and what those CPI numbers say. So it doesn't matter which way you trade it. When it gets extended, it's likely to revert, and it's might to stay in a range. How big the range will be, obviously, we don't know. But that's more likely what you're going to get. That move there was them not changing interest rates back on the 10th of July. And that crazy move that we had just coincided with a load of rallies in the pound because they didn't change the interest rates in July as we were expecting. So that boosted the pound at the same time as they decided to dump the New Zealand dollar. So you shouldn't see that type of movement continuing now because we're both on a negative interest rate path. So New Zealand, we should be looking for shorts more than longs on it now. But as you can see, this week, dead. So looking to target that propulsion gap to the downside. But, this thing, we've hit the monthly high. Just moved. We've hit the monthly high. We've had a beautiful double reaction there. So, yeah, down. But that's going to need some Canadian dollar strength to come through. Not really any reason for that to happen. But this afternoon, we might get some strength based on retail. But retail doesn't move the market anywhere near as much as the main fundamentals do. So we don't have retail in the buyer scorecard because it's not that important. It just is an indication of whether people are feeling flush or not. That's literally it. We know nobody's feeling flush at the moment. So if retail goes up, it's not really because everybody's feeling flush. So not really going to do an awful lot, I don't think, this afternoon. But you never know. It's the only news we've got. They might just wait and use that to move the market. New Zealand dollar Swiss we've covered. New Zealand yen we've covered. New Zealand US again short on that one. So I'm short New Zealand CAD and short New Zealand US. Second position taken on this one. We got the extension there on Monday. That's Monday. Yeah, Monday. Huge move on the weakness on the CAD and the US, and obviously the New Zealand dollar interest rates help that along. So yeah, just looking for a pullback on that leg of some description. RSI has reset, which is slightly worrying. We haven't really managed to drop anything on it, as you can see. This is the downside to the RSI. RSI tells us the condition of the market is stretched and we're due a profit take move from banks and institutions. However, if they decide to then go into an accumulation rally, the signal doesn't work. But that's why we position trade rather than trying to guess where the market's going to turn. So we're in a 3-day accumulation. Beautiful reversal alert and retest. We did put a new lower high in yesterday. So market structure definitely shifted short. So we've got the high, low, lower high, lower low. So market structure definitely bearish. Beautiful lower high gone in today. And we are just starting to potentially put in the next leg down. So target for me is just this propulsion move out of that accumulation, which is the break of that high. So that's ADR. If we do get any movement on the CAD this afternoon, hopefully bullish retail figures, that will help the US power up. And obviously at the open yesterday, we had a big sell-off in stocks, which rallied the US. That could well continue today. If you look at the US stock market at the moment, this DAX, look at it. It's just flatlined, isn't it? If you look at the US stocks, we had a big sell-off yesterday. Big sell-off. So it's an outside bar basically on the Dow, and it's an outside bar on the NASDAQ and the FTSE actually. Yeah. So we had outside bar on all three, which is indecision. It's not bearish, although it did close down. So we're putting a new high above yesterday's high and a new low below yesterday's low. That's an outside bar. So indecision yesterday, the day before rather, we had an accumulation, also an outside bar. So it's expansion, but it's expanded to the downside. So that is the logical move back down into propulsion. So it does look like there's potential for US dollar strength this afternoon and another leg down on the indices. But judging by the DAX and the FTSE today, it may not happen. Oh, look at that. It's actually broken the lows. Taken 30 minutes. What can you do? Euro pound weekly range just hit. Something's moving. Strength in the pound, further strength in the pound coming through. Done the New Zealand's. Yeah, so nice short opportunity there. Just about to get a reversal alert trigger straight after that reversal alert, which tells you we're in a range. US dollar CAD is the last one. That's going long. Got a long on this at the moment. 4-hour RSI extension at support. Yeah, double monthly low. RSI very nicely extended on the 4-hour. Reversal alert went in yesterday. This is the retest, so we're looking for a push up into propulsion. This, depending what Powell says, if he says anything of interest this afternoon, we could be looking at a well above ADR day today. If that continuation in the stock market sell-off happens, again, we've got potential for a big ADR day today. So that could even get target hit today. But yeah, lovely reversal alert and retest. So there's your W pattern reversal. Got a bit of a leg before as well. So yeah, lovely. Looking good. US dollar strength. But as we know, Powell can flick that switch off just by opening his mouth. So he is opening his mouth this afternoon at 4 o'clock. So be aware. Oh no, it's Bailey. He's at 3 o'clock. Brilliant. So yeah, so US this afternoon. I'd be very careful at the open this afternoon. If we got big moves off the Canadian and the US dollar's been rallied along with the CAD, the stock market will probably have already done a fairly big move before the open. And then at the open, we're going to wait and see what Powell says at 3 o'clock. So at 2:30, when the market opens, they're going to sit around for half an hour and wait to see what direction the US dollar is going in as to whether they should be buying stocks later this afternoon and next week or whether they should be buying them now. So I get the feeling this afternoon may be tricky at the open. Equally, if it does hang around, it's very much the same as yesterday, if you remember. We were waiting for the PMIs. We had really beautiful breaks yesterday. Easy money, wasn't it? Because we had the opening rate pre-market ranges and then the open, and it then sat inside bar on the open until 2:45, and then it took off. We took those short breaks and we made very good money yesterday, although I got out on my second position at trailing stop exactly at the pip it pulled back before it continued and rallied further down. Typical. But anyway, but yeah, so that's this afternoon's news. Look at this. So that is your open. Absolutely dead. Go and do something else today until this afternoon. So yeah, long US dollar CAD. Have 2 positions on that at the moment. If it breaks down from here, it's going to be pretty tricky. So we've got this very big accumulation, which is basically, that's January. So the first sort of quarter this year, we just sat around and did nothing. We had the rally on the US dollar on the promise of not changing interest rates, then changing interest rates, then not changing interest rates. Into that accumulation, we've done an A-shaped recovery on that leg. So again, we're moving into expansion, which is very hard to pick direction on. But I get the feeling it's going to want to pull back and stay in this range. There's absolutely no reason for it to pull out either way at the moment. So very tricky. But I'm long, just using technicals at the moment, RSI extension. There's no bias for me on it. So long because we are extended. They should be pulling back. Is your SIH running on a funded account? No. Am I using fractional lot sizes? Yep. My broker only allows multiples of 1. Change your broker. You can't trade on that. If your broker forces you to use 1 lot or 0.1 lot, change broker. There's plenty of brokers out there. Brokers these days should not be forcing you to trade. Forcing you to trade. Trying to find the button. 0.1s or 1s. Yeah. So standard lots and mini lots. You should be able to trade micros. It should be 1.33, not 1.3, 1.4, 1.5. If brokers are still doing that, and there's absolutely no reason why they should be, change broker. There's a reason they do it, basically, for simplicity of batching orders to place. And also, you can't control risk properly. You over leverage. Yeah, if you're forced to take a standard lot or a mini lot, rather than taking a micro lot, which gives you exact risk management, they're over leveraging you. They're forcing you to take either too big a size, which over leverages you and makes you make stupid mistakes, or too small a size because you can't get the size that you want on, which forces you to overtrade. They're not stupid brokers. Change broker. Robo Forex. I'll use Darwinex for indices. You only need 1 to 30 leverage, which is what you get with Darwinex, because it's a scalping strategy. You shouldn't be position trading on indices, so you don't need any more leverage than 1 to 30. Darwinex is a good broker. Robo Forex as well. Absolutely nothing wrong with them for indices. Spreads pretty decent. Also, TD365 as well. They offer fixed spreads. So I'm thinking of changing over to TD365 actually, because they now apparently offer fixed spreads on MT4. Previously, they only offered fixed spreads on their own trading platform, which you couldn't automate. Now, apparently, they have fixed spreads also in MT4. As far as I know, they're the only broker in the world that offers fixed spreads on MT4, which also worries me, because if that was possible, why isn't everybody doing it? It's always possible, obviously. Any broker can offer fixed spreads. They don't. They offer variable spreads because that's how they make their money. So by offering fixed spreads, basically TD365 are limiting their earnings potential. But I think it's kind of a pull to get you in on indices, and obviously then you'll trade other stuff like forex, gold, oil, etc. on the platform, which does have variable spread or different spread. So TD365 lot sizes are 0.5 multiples. There you go. There's your downside. So yeah, you can't use it. Didn't realize that. I mean, you can use it. There's nothing, there's nothing wrong with using micro lots. Sorry, mini lots or standard lots, if you're happy with that risk. So On US indices and 1 on the FTSE. All right, okay. So yes, standard lots. It's because I think it's more futures based. But I don't know. I just don't want to be forced to use one standard lot. I used to trade with IG, and the reason I switched from IG was because everything worked in standard lots. And when I started automation development, so I could automate myself and make my life easier, I wanted to take specific risk, and you can't do that with a standard lot. But yeah, so there's their downside. So you'll be forced to take. I mean, for me, it's not as much of a problem because I've got enough capital to trade with that I can go in with bigger lot sizing. But equally for automation, so if you're using the stock index hedge or the opening range breakout EA, you have to switch from percentage of equity over to fixed lot. The problem with that is if you switch to fixed lot, you're not risking based on ADR. Yeah. So if the ADR of the instrument changes, your risk changes, because if it moves a hell of a lot more every day than it did last month, your risk is bigger. Using a percentage of equity, doesn't matter what ADR does, you're risking a percentage over ADR, aren't you? But I suppose with SIH, we are fixing our lot size to a minimum and maximum of ADR. But yeah, even so, you are definitely over leveraging, aren't you? Like at the moment, the ADR on it is 171. Yeah. So if you look at the ADR on the DAX right now at 171, that's fine. But if you look at the ADR now, we're down here. ADR can be up there. Yeah. So we're currently sitting on an ADR of 170 points. 10. What am I doing on the US? What am I doing on the US dollar CAD? But anyway, you know what I mean. The ADR changes. So MT4 with IG allows micro lots. Do they allow micros now? Do they? Okay, brilliant. The problem with it was the spread as well. The spread was huge. IG are a spread betting company, so spreads are usually pretty big. When you're trading indices, specifically scalping 5-minute time frames, spread is the most important thing. You want tight spreads. You see my spread on the DAX is virtually nothing. Yeah, that's the spread, which is why I use DarwinX, because they've got a very, very tight spread. FTSE, not so good, but it never is on the FTSE. And US indices spread is great as well, which is why I use DarwinX. It's all about the spread. Yeah, because the spread from here to here, which you'll find on some brokers, is the difference between hitting the pre-market range high and getting triggered into an order and not getting triggered into an order. So it's critical for scalping on anything, not just indices, if you scalp anything. But yeah, a lot of requotes. Yeah, I do remember that as well with IG when the markets are fast moving. I don't know. Brokers change as well. You know, the trouble with brokers is they change depending on how you are doing and how you are performing. So I've traded with most brokers over my 15 odd years, and the trouble with brokers is you get with a broker, they give you really good spreads, they give you really good commissions, and then when they see you being profitable, they're not making money out of you on the A book, B book, taking the opposite sides of your trade. So they switch you over to a different book, which means that your spreads tend to widen, and they give you bigger overnight spreads. And the market execution isn't as good as it used to be. So they look great when you start, but when you become profitable and they know that you're someone they can't make much money out of, trading conditions change because they don't want you. If all they're doing is making a commission and a swap out of you, you're not as good as a client, are they? If you deposit 2,000 and they take the opposite side to your trade and you lose that 2,000 and they take all your money, you're the client they want. But unfortunately, that type of client only lasts about 60 to 90 days. And then they have to find someone to replace them because they give up, because they blow their accounts. The life of a broker. We are not going anywhere. I'm just filling, basically, until this hits target. I don't think it's going to. I haven't seen it this dead for a long time. There's dead and there's like decomposing. This is proper dead, isn't it? So can't do anything with this morning. Oanda doesn't do that. They do. All brokers do that. They don't all give you less preferential account trading conditions, admittedly. Most of them do. But they are all taking the opposite sides of your trades. Yeah, it doesn't matter if the margin's low. Margin's got no problem. The only accounts you need large margin for are position trading accounts. Any other account, any other strategy you're using stop losses with, or you're hedging with, you don't need much margin, much leverage. It's not a problem. Position trading, it is a problem. This is why I trade with Robo Forex for position trading, because I need minimum of 200 leverage. And there's not many brokers, well, there's no brokers in the UK that do it, which is why I'm with Robo. Right, that's all I've got for you today. Not a lot else to discuss, and it's dead as a door now. So we are getting a little bit of movement in the US. So there is, last hour, we've had some movement. So there is hope for the day. But as you can see from the, oh my God, look, pound US dollars inside bar. So there is some movement, not a lot. So yeah, hopefully we just get a grind above yesterday's high on the DAX. But I mean, if you look at yesterday, there's a chance of this rotating, isn't there, still today? So we'll see. I tried to manage position trading with Oanda. So far it's working. It won't. You can't position trade with 50 leverage. You can to a certain point. What you will find is you will come to put your next trade on in a position. So if you look at something that's haven't really got anything that is squeezing at the moment, really, probably pound US dollar is the squeeziest thing. So it's absolutely fine. 3 positions on at the moment. Got one there, one there, and one there. Yeah. If this pushes for another week, 2 weeks, you're going to need to add 2 or 3 extra positions into this move. Yeah. When you get there and it goes because you haven't got enough margin to put that trade on, you're screwed, because all that's going to happen is this is going to go against you. You're not going to be able to move your position, your entry, and you're going to get margin called. And when they margin call you, they'll shut all your positions out. The whole lot becomes a loss. And there's absolutely no reason for it, but that's what will happen. It's not if, it's when. It will happen, guaranteed, because we get squeezed all the time, and you will get squeezed. So if it's working okay at the moment, no problem. If also you're using super tiny lots, so if you've got like a 50k account, you're trading with 0.03s or something, fine. But that's obviously massively under risked. But yeah. Pound US dollar, 5 minute. There it is. What do you want? Are you telling me something, or are you wanting me to tell you something? Managed to survive that squeeze at the beginning of August. Yeah, I mean, you will. If you get more than one squeeze on, there's 2 ways you're going to get margin called. Either you get more than one squeeze at a time, meaning you're going to take 2 large positions, or you get over leveraged. So if you've got 5 exposures on the US dollar and the US dollar decides to take off against you, that you're not going to have enough margin for. Or if you get one massive squeeze that goes on for 2 months. Yeah, I've been in squeezes for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 2 months. Just grindy squeezes. Yeah. what it means is you can't take any other trades. Yeah. So if you're in a position where you're on a margin call and you can't take any more trades, and the best setup in the world comes up, you can't take it. If you can't make money with that trade, you can't use that profit to do drawdown control. You've got to have bigger leverage. I watch the spreads move as I trade, the dance of broker profits. Yeah, their edge. I'm in the US, we'll look into other brokers. I'm not trading all 28 pairs. Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, I mean, if you're in the US, again, you're limited. You have to go overseas broker, Australia, New Zealand. But I mean, people like Robo Forex won't take you on. You're really, even in the with the overseas brokers, unfortunately, in the US, you have those stupid FIFO rules as well. So you can't hedge. So again, if you get into a margin call position, they won't allow you to hedge yourself out of the position. Yeah, they've got it made in the US. They've really rigged it nicely against retail traders. But yeah, you have to find an overseas broker. So that's tricky. That's why I trade prop. Yeah. So, but obviously with prop, you've got massive prop is even more limited because you can't trade freely. You can only trade within drawdown rules and all that sort of stuff, and you know it's all fake. They're the worst of the bunch. I don't want to deal with brokers from offshore countries. Then, yeah, that's your choice. Euro US dollar 3-minute. Why do you keep shouting out pairs and timeframes? Why are you here? I don't understand. I can tell by your name you're selling signals or something. So I'm probably just going to ban you because you just keep shouting crap out. So trading with Patiltrap. What are you selling? What are you selling? You've been in here for a couple of days now. You're obviously trying to sell stuff. I'm surprised the link hasn't gone in yet. If it does, bye-bye. Anyway, yeah, so for a start, 3-minute chart doesn't exist. And if you are trading the 3-minute chart, why? It's just chop. So don't know why you're here. Either watch the bootcamp and say something constructive or off. Anyway, it's one of those days. Nothing's happening. And we've got idiots on board. Right, DAX has pulled back inside opening range. Pre-market range, sorry. Below open. This looks like it's possibly going to hedge as well. So that's a definite yesterday's high rejection. Same as the FTSE. So if it does hedge today, not really too much we can do unless it moves. So that is definitely target to the upside, which is 5. That's 3R, isn't it? There's a possible target up there as well, but don't know. Oh, he's pulled his comments now. Look, he's pulled all his comments. He's going. Look. We haven't had a spammer in here for a while, have we? It's been a long time. From what I know, when you're profitable, some brokers take the opposite side of your order, but then hedge it on spot FX market so they don't lose money on your wins. Yeah. But that is not their ideal business model, is it? That's the thing. Their ideal business model is the 70% where you have someone depositing and losing 60% of their account within 60 days, which is the norm. And they take 60% of your account, basically, and put it into their account. So, yeah, there's all sorts of ways they can make money. All the dark pool orders, and brokers have got it made. They cannot lose. As soon as you press the buy and the sell button, they've got a spread out of you and they've got a commission out of you. The very basic, they're earning a spread and commission. If they want more money, they can farm your order out then at a different price and make even more on the spread. The best job in the world, and nowadays it's 90% automated as well. They just literally have to press buttons at specific points of day. The rest of it's done for them. Best job in the world, broker. Unfortunately, you need $250,000 just to get the license, and then you need all the other stuff that goes with it. So you're looking at millions to set a brokerage up, and then you've got to find clients, which costs millions. And then when your clients come in, 60% of them go bust within 60 days. So you then have to replace 60% of your client base every month. Sounds like a good job, doesn't it? So basically you are saying I'm screwed with Oanda. No, you're not screwed with Oanda. You will just find it at some point. You will get a margin call on 1 to 50. If it depends how you're doing it. Yeah? If you're limiting your trades, so if I can basically trade every FX pair and I can use my entire account. Yeah, so I've got 1 to 500 leverage, which means basically I get margin called when I'm pretty much got a few dollars left in my account. Yeah, so I can use my entire balance. With a 1 to 50 margin, what you'll find is when your account is drawn down by roughly a quarter to a third, they'll be margin calling you and they'll be taking that quarter of a third and you can't do anything about it. That's what the problem is with small leverage and position trading. At some point, you'll get to it. You will get to that point. But if you're only trading very small lots on a large account, you won't have a problem. And if you limit your exposure to maybe 4 positions total, so take 1 trade on each instrument. So if you're in a US dollar position, you don't take any more US dollar. You just have 1 exposure on each currency. Maximum you can get on really is about 4. That shouldn't be a problem. But if 2 of those go into squeezes, you're stuffed because you can't take any more trades. So it's difficult. Best thing to do is backtest with the Market Reversal Alerts EA or the Position Trader EA. Run a backtest and just see how it goes. Put the right leverage in and put the right account balance in and just run it and just see what margin goes down to, and then you'll be able to calculate basically how far you can go. Prop I trade baby trades, yeah, very low risk. We've been through prop. I remember what I was over 50% in drawdown and didn't get margin called. 50% in drawdown. Why? You shouldn't be anywhere near 50% in drawdown position trading. I mean, it's up to you. That is, I wouldn't be sleeping at night if I was in 50% of drawdown. But if you do back tests with the Position Trader EA, you can make a lot of money using position trading if you are willing to take very large drawdown. Yeah, when you start getting up to bigger amounts, your appetite for drawdown reduces. So if I've got a 5K account, I don't mind going into 70% of drawdown on it because it's only 5K. If it's a 100K account, I'm not interested. It's a very, very different thing. So small accounts is probably not a problem. So yes, you can open 5 broker accounts with Oanda. Yeah, you could, and limit your pairs. So people have done that before. So you have a pound account, you have a euro account, and a US account, and basically you will trade those pairs only on those accounts. Obviously, you could have an odd New Zealand account as well. And if you want to trade the Swiss and the yen, you're going to do those crosses across those 3 majors anyway. So you can set up 3 accounts, and obviously you'll only take a couple of exposures on the pound, a couple of exposures on the euro, and a couple of exposures on the US dollar in each. So you'd be running 6 positions across 3 accounts, and then obviously whatever you want to do in the other one. So if you're position trading properly with proper risk management, you should never really have more than about 8 positions on. Otherwise, you're overexposed. So if you've got 4 accounts, 2 positions on, that works. But that means you're spreading your risk. And it's not actually a bad thing to do. It's what I used to do. If you can't go back and look at them, but when I used to run the live rooms on, I keep wanting to say Stripe. It's not. It's the other thing. I can never remember. I have these brain blanks now with things. I just can't remember the names of stuff. But that communication thing that got really popular in lockdown that we talk to each other through begins with an S. Brain's gone. Someone will say it in a minute. But I used to run all the streams through that. And I was running multiple accounts there with different brokers as well. So spreading my exposure across 3 different brokers. So I was running a Darwin X account. I was running Zoom. That's it. Doesn't begin with an S. Why doesn't it begin with an S? I was running a Darwin X account. I was running with what other brokers was I using at the time? Can't remember. But there's 2 other brokers I was using. Skype. It wasn't Skype. It was Zoom. So yeah, that is a way to do it. So you can do it that way, but you also will still get trouble with certain squeezes. So you need decent leverage. Peep show? No, it wasn't a peep show. Trading with Palitrap, whatever your name is. RSI setting, whatever you want. Slack. No, it wasn't Slack. I don't think you've watched the bootcamp, have you? Right. Before you start asking loads of questions about settings for indicators, watch this. It's about 15 hours, and it will teach you how I trade, why I trade the way I trade, and how the market works. And it will teach you about all the indicators I use and how I use them and why they use them and what they're telling you. Do not skip, which I suspect you'll probably want to do, to that one, which is all the strategies, because if you start trading these strategies and you haven't watched any of this stuff, you won't have a clue why you're doing what you're doing. And you'll be watching it and going, oh, I'm going into drawdown. And you won't know what to do. Watch the whole bootcamp. It will give you all the settings. There is no right or wrong. RSI I use at the moment is RSI 10 on the 4 hour. I used to use RSI 14 on the 4 hour. Previously, I used RSI 21 on the 4 hour. And I'm using RSI 21 on the hourly. But you could use RSI 14 if you wanted, or RSI 28. I don't know which one's right because the market will push sometimes above a level on each setting. All it's telling you is it's moved in one direction and you need to have a look at it because something's likely to happen next. Which one you use, up to you. There is no right or wrong. It's just different. There's the RSI 14, RSI 10 rather. There's the RSI 14. Yeah, so you can see the 14 gave you a signal there above the 80 level, whereas the RSI 10 was well extended above it. Yeah, so either you got into a trade at the beginning of the week, or you didn't. You got in maybe last week. That's the difference. You're just going to enter at a different time. Whether the market goes up or down after you've pressed the button, it's down to the market. This indicator has nothing to do with the future. So pick one. Don't pick mine because it's what I'm using. I don't know if it's right or wrong. It's just a setting. If I knew which one was right each week, I'd use it. But I haven't got a crystal ball, so I can't help you with that. Everybody's saying Slack. Sorry, it was the wrong thing. You're all really behind. Anyway, right, I'm going to leave it there. Anything you need. Good morning, Reverend Insanity. Thanks for coming to the stream right at the end. You need to watch the replay. So I'll be back on Tuesday next week. Oh, good one, DAX. We are pushing back up again. So yeah, I'll be back next week on Tuesday. So Monday is a bank holiday in the UK, so I won't be here Monday. Back on Tuesday with consumer confidence. So have a good weekend. If you're in the UK, enjoy hopefully the sun, depending where you live. But yeah, wouldn't expect a lot of movement on Monday. So Tuesday we're back for the next stream, and yeah, we'll see where everything's going then. But hopefully this DAX breaks long today and pays for the FTSE. That's literally it. I will have a look at the UK, the US markets when we're getting close, but I kind of just want to scalp it this afternoon and try and get some shorts on. I'm not sure about the opening range breakout today. This volume is just dire at the minute. So we'll see. All right, have a good one. Anything you need, let me know. I'll be in Telegram or Discord. Other than that, I will see you next week. Have a good weekend.